Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
What is the most satisfying food in your opinion? Now let me clarify. There's food you eat just to eat, like fast food or a protein bar. You don't have many options and you just need to eat something to get some calories in. That's one type of food. There is comfort food, like pretty much anything on the holiday meal menu, or like cozy soups or pies in the fall and winter. You just can't beat it at that time. It's just comfort food. It just makes you feel good. There's your favorite food, which could be a certain traditional food or something your family used to make for you, or even a special treat. But what is a satisfying food? I would say it's something that fills you up and it gives you energy and makes you feel strong and healthy. Have you considered that? It might overlap with some of the other kinds of foods, but I feel like sometimes it can be different. Like for me, I would say that sushi is my favorite food, but I don't know that I would say a roll of sushi leaves me feeling satisfied. I guess it depends on the type and the amount. But a satisfying meal for me would be steak and potatoes just the way my husband makes them. It's satisfying because A, I don't have to make it, and B, it's hot and hearty and delicious, and he just cooks a mean steak. That's just it at the end of the day. There are a lot of references to food in the Bible, and one food especially, bread. Today's verse that we're talking about here on the Bible for Busy People podcast is about just that. We are in Matthew 6, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm Jen, by the way, if you haven't visited before. I'm going to read through the Lord's Prayer, but we are breaking it down verse by verse this week because we're finding that even though these are small lines, verse by verse, there is so much to them. So the Lord's Prayer reads like this. It says, "This then is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one." Today's verse is verse 11. Give us today our daily bread. The first thing I think of when I see this passage is Exodus 16, where God provides food for the Israelites in the desert. Now, I'm going to read some of this just to give a little context into what we're reading in Matthew. In verses 4-5, it says, "Then the Lord said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. In this way, I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. On the sixth day, they are to prepare what they bring in, and that is to be twice as much as they gather on the other days." Now in verse 15, it says, "When the Israelites saw it, they saw the bread, they said to each other, 'What is it?' For they did not know what it was. Moses said to them, 'It is the bread the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Everyone is to gather as much as they need. Take an omer,'" or type of unit of measurement at the time, "'for each person you have in your tent.' The Israelites did as they were told. Some gathered much, some little. And when they measured it by the omer, the one who gathered much did not have too much, and the one who gathered little did not have too little. Everyone had gathered just as much as they needed. Then Moses said to them, 'No one is to keep any of it until morning.' However, some of them paid no attention to Moses. They kept part of it until morning, but it was full of maggots, ew, and began to smell, so Moses was angry with them. Understandably, nobody wants to bring that into their tents. So God gave them just enough for that day, and it seems Jesus is referencing that here. This goes along with the theme of surrender, trust, provision, and promises. And yesterday, we talked about surrender. And I think it's really important to bring up the next step after surrender, which is obedience. When we love and trust God, we follow instructions. I feel that as a parent. I want my kids to trust me enough to pay attention and do what I say because I love them and I want what's best for them. And that takes some trust on their part. It's similar to when God warns us and pleads with us in the scriptures and works so hard to set up a healthy system for us throughout history, but then we can do our own thing. We can act in disobedience, and it comes with natural consequences. God was testing their obedience here and really wanted to see their trust in action. Some obeyed, while some gathered too much and saw the natural consequences, which was maggots. Ew! Later, some saved extra from the 6th to the 7th day as instructed so they could rest on the 7th day on the Sabbath, while some took the 6th day's amount, and then they went out on the 7th day expecting food, but food wasn't provided that day according to God's instructions. The trust of surrender comes with the next steps of obedience. This request of God for provision comes alongside one of trust and also knowing the parameters, surrender and obedience. When we ask God for our daily bread, we are also saying we trust you and will listen to you and obey so we can receive what you have to offer us. Now, here's something I didn't know. The word daily used here is only used one other place in the Bible, which is in the Lord's Prayer in Luke chapter 11. Ellicott's commentary notes that this reflects back on Proverbs 30 verse 8 here in the ESV. It says, "Remove far from me falsehood and lying. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is needful for me." I like the way that's phrased in the ESV. It's a reminder that we are asking for just enough, not too much and not too little, but just what we need. And we know that this goes beyond the physical, right? God provides for our needs in all the ways. Jesus will later, with his disciples, declare himself the bread of life in John 6, verse 35. And then in the Lord's Supper, in the actual first Lord's Supper that he designates, which we talked about a few weeks back, he declares the bread as his body broken for us. He is the daily bread that we need, another way God provides to meet us in all of our needs. God cares both about our big worries and also our everyday needs. No request is too small. God cares about what we need day to day. And as Jesus said prior to teaching this prayer, God knows what we need before we ask. But it's for us and for our hearts to ask, to lay our needs before him and see how he responds. It's an ongoing relationship and an ongoing process to ask God for what we need and to see how God provides it. There's a lot here. I could probably keep going, but for today, let's just sit back and reflect on how God provides for us, how he meets our needs, even the ones that are too small, they seem insignificant. God meets our needs just enough and leaves space for our surrender, our trust, and to be provided for. Let's chat again tomorrow about the Lord's Prayer.
Thank you for listening to The Bible for Busy People. If you need prayer or want to go deeper in your faith, visit our show notes. Will you take a moment to share with a friend and leave a review? It helps the Bible get into even more people's minds and hearts. Find more podcasts that will recharge you at purposely.com.
Are you looking for a distinctly Christian education? A place where your child can be challenged with academic rigor through a biblical worldview? Consider King's Schools.
England, and I'm a proud student of the King's Schools graduating class of 2025. Being a King's Knight has made a significant impact on my faith and future. Next year, I will be studying health sciences at Texas Christian University. Because of King's Schools, I walk confidently in God's perfect plan for my life, with the lasting friendships that have shaped me along the way. If you're considering enrolling at King's Schools next year, I assure you, you will find an incredible home and family here at King's that will last a lifetime.
Sign up for a tour of King's Schools by June 30th, and if you enroll, mention Purposely and pay no application fee. Visit gokings.org for more. Building resilient disciples of Christ through Christian education for 75 years. gokings.org.